And thanks for tuning in to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host, smAsho, aka Dan, and we've turned down the flames a little bit today. Let's do a survey, first Family Feud style. We are stuck in a rut on this channel and we have to do stuff the same all the time. Survey said. I always get these things wrong on this channel. Alright, anyway. Welcome to Daily Space Weather, folks. Let's start things out looking at a Helioviewer movie of this active region as it starts to move into a setting phase in the west. And there's a filament kind of around the limb from our location, assuming that you're viewing the content from Earth. And we are streaming live, by the way. Oh, there I am. Huh. We are streaming live, by the way, to Twitch. It's twitch.tv/smAsho. Thanks to our latest subscriber over there. What a great view of that plage. No sunspots, but at least some activity there. And we see a coronal mass ejection, and it is a bit Earth-facing. It's not very large. It looks pretty diffuse, and it's not particularly fast. But there's the view from stereo A, which is located at Lagrange point 5. A couple of months behind the Earth, orbitally speaking. So there's the view of that small coronal mass ejection. Here's the view from SOHO. This is at Lagrange point 1, in between Earth and Sun. And you can see a bit of a halo coming out there. More ejected to the west than to the east, but some on both sides. Let's look at more images of the sun itself without the coronagraph blocking the view. Here's 94 angstroms. It's a 48-hour SDO video. And some activity rising in the southeast as well. And it's very low latitude. And again, we are streaming live to Twitch. Please consider subscribing over there, as when we have really pressing matters to stream, we usually do it live on Twitch, although we are capable of streaming live to Facebook and to YouTube. There are reasons. Let's look at the fields here, faded to 171 angstroms, and there you can see the fields associated with that active region or plage in the northwest. Here's the 304 angstroms view where you can see those filaments. And there's the fade that we use for the movies. Here's another 48-hour SDO image. Series of images, really. And this actually takes 10 images per minute at the 131 angstroms view. And we're going to go through a whole bunch more data and try to shorten things up as there's lots of stuff to talk about. Lots of interesting things in the news. Here is another Helioviewer movie, that active region rising in the southeast. I'll let that play through a second time for you, for all of you solar sightseers. Are you a sun groupie? Leave a comment if you're a sun groupie. All right. Next, looking at the KP index, it's dropped down to 0 from its high of 2 over the past 3 days. And there's an article on spaceweather.com about the South Atlantic anomaly splitting in two, and the way that it affects satellite drag and the way the Van Allen belts spill down into the ionosphere and so on. Yeah, not a lot to say about that. That image was featured on our thumbnail like a week ago, and we're just here to show you the radio flux, which is still at 70. So basically solar minimum conditions. And where will you be on Saturday, June 20th, at the time of the solstice? We'll be streaming live at least to 2 platforms, possibly even to 3 platforms, which would be Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So check us out on all those locations. If you haven't followed us in all those spots, please do so. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. As Venus is about to swing past, there's where things will be in 1 week, assuming everything goes according to plan. And regarding those objects, it's pretty likely to go according to plan. And let's look at a star chart. Here's what's going on above my head. Some are triangles up there. How about Altair? That's one of the summer triangle stars, along with Vega. And my personal favorite, Deneb. A couple little bumps in the GOES X-ray flux there. Nothing to write home about, nothing even resembling a B-class flare. Proton flux is flatlined, and we don't expect to see any significant change in this even with that coronal mass ejection headed this way. Again, it's quite minor and diffuse. And let's move on to the real-time solar wind. By the way, if you are viewing live, please leave us a comment. We'll try to feature it in the daily space weather video. I just want to make sure that I've updated the information here for Twitch. There we go. All right. So real-time solar wind, what do we got? Phi angle of 300 degrees roughly. Solar wind density 5.43 protons. And that's per cubic centimeter, by the way. For you new viewers out there not aware of the units, try to include units when you say something, folks. That's one of the precepts of science. 335 kilometers per second is the solar wind speed. And the solar wind temperature is 2.37 E plus 4, or 2.37 thousand Kelvin. All right, we're going to talk cosmology for the quickest section ever in today's cosmology segment. And my cosmology segment is thus. Head to smashomash.com/forum. Scroll down, click on the cosmology forum, and read some of the threads in there. It might blow your mind, such as, oh, I don't know, Cygnus X3 massive X-ray binary celestial pole star Deneb, or the most, or the Big Bang busted again, or etc., etc. Let's get back to data instead of self-promotion. Here is the geospace magnetosphere movie, and we're looking at 4 hours of data there, and it's pretty slow and steady when it comes to the solar wind right now. And we decided to broadcast from the Smash bunker today instead of from the depths of hell where we broadcasted from yesterday. No, we didn't have to torture any souls. Don't worry, folks. We were granted access as a neutral party, a journalist. Anyway, there's 4 hours of data on the geospace magnetosphere movies. Please don't attempt to do a live stream from hell. It could be hazardous to your health. See what I did there? Anyway, nothing too exciting as far as geospace magnetosphere movies go. GOES magnetometer is looking kind of odd here. And for you new viewers out there, these N's and M's refer to midnight and noon for the GOES 16 satellite. Maybe that helps. Measuring the magnetic environment, let's say. Next, looking at the magnetic environment from a different view, as if you're looking down from on the North Pole of the Sun, to see the Earth in a South Pole dominated portion of the current sheet. North Pole current sheet shown in green, South Pole current sheet shown in red. And here's a line of sight field plot which shows you also the B field, which is the same field in the BTBZ on the real-time solar wind. Maybe that helps you understand magnetism. I know it's pretty complicated. Well, that's part of the reason why we do it, folks. We do the hard stuff, not the easy stuff. Speaking of hard stuff, where did all the electrons go, folks? Check out the low levels of electron flux, just cratered, coming down, down, and down from very, very high levels in August of 2019. Just a downward trend in electron flux. There's the GOES electron flux. And this is greater than 2 mega electron volt, and this is what we would call relativistic electrons, and this is relativistic and, well, they're all relativistic electrons, greater than or equal to 2 mega electron volt electron flux. So some shockingly low levels there for all of that stuff, despite a very weak solar wind. We expected to see that come up, and we haven't. Here is the what we would call the coupled thermosphere, ionosphere, plasmasphere electrodynamics model, otherwise known as the CTIPE, total electron content. And we're looking at the entire air column here, all the way up to where you'd have things like GPS satellites, geosynchronous satellites. So very low levels of electron flux. Expect your GPS to be working pretty well, even if you're on the equator at noontime, folks. Although you'll get the biggest errors in those spots. Next, looking at the ionosphere. In other words, just one layer instead of the total column. And we see quite anomalous ionospheric behavior here. And it looks like a little bit of data anomalies happening too, which we often see on the prime meridian, which probably has to do with the time frames associated. These are 15 minutes per frame, so the ionosphere looking not very smooth at all, but not super anomalous either. Mainly that big discharge at nighttime we saw there, where everything turned into an F layer. The current situation at 8 o'clock looking a little bit more normal. And by the way, we had an earthquake come in right as I did show prep. The largest of the past 24 happened just minutes ago. So let's go up the list, citing anything weird like this 4.4 at very deep depth. Deep depth. It's a deep depth. We're doing a deep dive into your pants. I mean, into the depths of the Earth. With this quake, it's a 4.4 magnitude at 271 kilometers depth. And by the way, there's no molten iron core generating a magnetic field inside the Earth, folks. Sorry, that's not the way it works. More on that later. And the use of the term moron was entirely by accident. Tajikistan sees a deep quake. It's a 4.5 magnitude at 162 kilometers. And then only 5 minutes later, a 557 kilometer deep quake at Fiji at a 4.6 magnitude. So practically at the same time, those two quakes kicking off. Opposite sides of the planet, folks. And Fiji is indeed the deep quake capital of the world. A small deep quake in Alaska. It's a 3.3 magnitude at 118 kilometers. What did I see there? Hawaii. All right. Under the town of volcano. That's not the volcano. Yes, they named a town volcano on the big island of Hawaii. Well done, geniuses. Well done. And it looks like a foreshock here at Vanuatu. Check it out. There's a foreshock at a 5.6. Second foreshock at a 4.9. And there's a 5.0 at Greece also. Another foreshock, I think. There we go. Another foreshock at a 4.8 magnitude. More quakes at Nevada. And there you go. The biggest quake of the past 24 at a 6.1 magnitude at Vanuatu. Here's the location of that. And let's look at the regional information. Actually, let's don't. I don't like that map. And here's this map. Looks like Port Vila. Probably would have felt that one. And let's check and see if there's any tsunamis. I don't think there are any tsunamis. Let's look anyway. At tsunami.gov. And no warning, advisory, watch, or threat issued. It's not even on the map yet, folks. Anyway, that's what's going on with that. Let's look at volcanoes next. Were you aware that Kamchatka produced a stratospheric level eruption, producing a 40,000-foot ash plume in spring in the northern hemisphere, quite far north, located on the Kamchatka Peninsula? And injected volcanic ash and volcanic aerosols into the stratosphere. Those things can stay up there for years, by the way, folks. And we saw multiple stratospheric ejections last year as well. I think that might only be one of two so far this year. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not the biggest volcanologist in the world. It's still erupting, still producing a 23,000-foot ash plume as it explodes. Mount Abico also exploding. Flight level 10,000 there, also flight level 5,000 there, flight level 14,000 at Sakurajima. That's an uptick, I believe, at Sakurajima. That's a crazy volcano there in Japan. Dakono exploding also, flight level 7,000. Popocatépetl exploding, flight level 19,000. Sangay exploding, flight level 19,000. And Sabancaya exploding, flight level 24,000. The good news is, folks, volcanoes are good for crop growth. Believe it or not, the sulfur cycle is highly misunderstood and not understood, period. And while it does make the planet colder, it also makes crops grow better. And I won't get into it. Let's look at some propaganda on USA Today. Biden and Trump display contrasting rhetoric over face masks. Some police brutality covidiocy going on in Minneapolis, as 4 apparent covidiots were fired over that. Trump asks whether he should be taking insulin. Since I don't think he's diabetic, I think I can probably answer that for him, but let's leave it up to the experts, right? By the way, if you enjoy the content, please don't forget to press like and subscribe on YouTube. And don't forget to check out our playlists, as we've painstakingly put hundreds and hundreds of videos in the playlists so that you can tell your friends, tell your foes, and have easier links for things such as, oh, I don't know, terms defined. We've only got 2 in there so far, the Sharticle and HIPAA. Next is covidiots, and it's coming soon. One of the things you may want to do when you're locked down because the government said to be, proving that they're the only non-essential business, is to listen to Superchunk, a pretty obscure band you may never have heard of. Now, they did do a live show on NPR recently, it looks like. Here's a little clip from their video, Driveway to Driveway. So that's pretty good stuff. Perhaps check that out. And no, that's not Nev Campbell. All right. Did you know that I'm one of the most amazing DJs? Please check us out on BitChute if you haven't checked us out on BitChute yet. And we'll be putting more exclusives up there soon. Thanks again to all of our subs at BitChute. BitChute, another one of the pieces of the puzzle that will push the way forward in terms of social media and video content. We can't wait for them to have live content available there. And when live streams start on BitChute, we will be live streaming to BitChute the first day that it's available. So we're also on other social media such as Minds, which is kind of like the alternative to Facebook, where you won't get censored, you won't get shadow banned, you won't have a bunch of nonsense. And are you up there again? I mean, really? Like, hold on, let me just... I'm afraid that you're while you're not the enemy, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave. All right, thank you. Thank you for cooperating. It's beta chatter. Have you learned how to talk like Trump yet? It's beta chatter, okay? Chatter. Cheap plastic virus, beta chatter. It can't even survive 5 minutes at room temperature in sunlight, okay? Okay, it's beta chatter. Chatter. You want some cheap plastic viruses? Buy your viruses from chatter. 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 I've stopped taking hydroxychloroquine because I found out that the tablets were made in China. China. How do you feel about that? Have you headed to smashamash.com/forum? It's not made in China. It's made right here in the good old US of A. Chief Scott Vogel might be made in China. Are you enjoying all those dirty looks, Chief? Hope you have a delightful day. Okay, Jasper. Okay, Jasper. Chief Scott Vogel of Lehigh Township made it China. Again, we're going to make a video about covidiots soon, so look for that coming up. Perhaps follow me on Instagram. Maybe go to #BugRescue. You know what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about bike shorts. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not sticking my hand down your pants. And Becky's not either, but she will sell you some shorts if you need a set. So let's talk about the unmentionables in the world of cycling. What is going on? What is going on in places like this? What is happening inside? Don't worry, folks, they're brand new. I won't get the COVID from touching my own shorts. They still have the tag on them, folks, don't worry. Let's talk about fabrics. Fabrics are everything when it comes to performance fabrics, and elastane is now the new word that people used to refer to as spandex. So if you think that we look cool in spandex, you think that we're doing it for any reason besides the aerospace engineering of trying to go fast, because we're battling the wind out there when we're going very shockingly fast on a bike. We need this stuff. We need this stuff so you can point your finger and say, that's the cool guy. Just kidding, folks. We know we look ridiculously wearing skin-tight clothes. So please stop calling it spandex. Spandex is a brand name. I believe it was a 3M brand name. Lycra is another brand name. I think those are all outdated now, and now the new term is elastane. And sadly, this doesn't really tell you specifically what it's made of. It could be all kinds of different materials. So it's commonly used in things like tight socks, competitive athletic wear, cycling wear, leggings, shorts, yoga pants, motion capture suits, underwear, bras, etc. So anyway, the main idea here is it has to be stretchy. And, polyamides are also used for things like the chamois, and this portion of the cycling shorts that we sit on is very substantial. It's like a second saddle. So if you don't have a pair of cycling shorts and you want to do more bike riding, it's one of the first things you need. Clipless shoes, a spare tube, some tools, and a pump, stuff like that. Maybe, a helmet, as I've broken multiple helmets. And while my bike handling skills are miraculous, I still typically always wear one. By choice, by the way. So anyway, polyamide is another one of the things. Polyester is what most cycling clothes are made out of. And let's talk about Lance Armstrong, as I have a lot to say about him, but I'm going to keep it rather short. Lance Armstrong's been in the news because of a recent documentary on ESPN. Once he won about 3 Tours de France, I said I'm not calling him a liar, but I just don't believe him. Because, let's just say that his trainer, total douchebag, Chris Carmichael, was telling everybody that, Lance keeps winning the Tour de France because he has better training and better nutrition, and I'm such a smart genius. Chris Carmichael, one of the preeminent douchebags going all the way back to at least 1996, who claimed he didn't know Lance was doping, and then he claimed he knew Lance was doping, and he clearly knew Lance was doping since probably the 90s. And probably even earlier than that, as Lance was a pro triathlete at age 16. Don't you find that a little bit sketchy? Why do you think the average age of a triathlete is like 35? It's because it's too many skills to be good at such a young age. Lance is an incredible bicycle rider. He even placed 4th in a national championship series race that some of my teammates went to back in, I believe it was 98? No, it must have been 99. Because I think it was 99. It would have been after he won the Tour de France in 1999. In the off season, he went and did a mountain bike race. So anyway, I'm not a Lance hater, and I'm not a Lance fan, and I never was either thing. However, Lance probably did more good than harm, because he probably caused like 1 billion people to go out and ride their bike at least once. So I don't care about the fact that I lost credibility as a cyclist. I mean, it's on my resume. I was pro by 1999, and it's been on my resume ever since. So it's neither here nor there, because some of us really do have ethics in sports, and we don't cheat, even when presented with the capability to cheat in various different ways, such as drafting a Winnebago or a series of fire trucks in a time trial. And by the way, my specialty is the time trial. I don't know why Lance is in such a terrible position here. I heard it's because he has back problems, but this is a horrendous position. His saddle is like too low, and his back is not flat at all, and I would not ride in that position if my life depended on it. And let's talk about mustaches and Dave Zabriskie and Steven Koza.
Mid to late November, I start rolling again on the mountain bike.
So this is Steven Koza, former teammate of Dave Zabriskie, and we'll get to who that is when we start to talk about these nuts.
And then December, start training again on the road bike. And then I get killed by Dave.
Here's Dave Zabriskie trying to murder his teammate. And let's talk about Dave Zabriskie and Lance Armstrong. Here they are at the 2009 Giro d'Italia, the Tour of Italy.
Here I started stage 14. There we go.
So before stage 14, now Dave Zabriskie is very silly. He's been one of my favorite cyclists, if not my favorite cyclist overall for ages. He's created a product called D's Nuts, which is chamois cream, which keeps your butt from turning into grated cheese when you're doing like 80 miles on a bike.
There's black light, ultraviolet light you have to clean your shorts with.
So Dave Zabriskie was anal retentive about cleaning his shorts, I guess. He was using ultraviolet lights and stuff. He even considered making a formulation of D's Nuts called La Nut. For Lance, please leave a comment if you understand that joke. La Nut. So if you want to get some top-end chamois cream, I've used it. It's top-notch. And the instructions are, pull down your pants, put it on you, put it on your chamois, and then pull up your pants. All right, let's get off of cycling and back to data. Look at all the flooding in the forecast. Ouch. Hydrologic forecast equals floods all over the place. Also some fog. And let's look at windy.com's pressure maps. We've got a pretty significant low pressure system about to crash into Western Canada. And we're letting this advance into the GFS forecast until about 12 noon tomorrow. If you're wondering where I'm located, it's in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. There's where the GFS forecast anticipates pressure cells to be tomorrow. Here's the jet streams of the Western world. And that is quite chaotic. Ask a pilot, he'll agree. And here are the jet streams of the Eastern world. We're going to show you some water vapor maps and some lightning maps and some Doppler radar maps. Here's water vapor for Africa and Europe. Here's water vapor for the Far East and Oceania. Here's a lightning map. It's at lightningmaps.org. And we see some lightning. Do we have terrestrial lightning in the U.S.? Indeed we do. Jackson, you're out of the crosshairs, but there's thunder rolling in. Canton, do you know how to forecast thunder? Yeah, you can forecast thunder. I'm not kidding. Convince your friends that you are Odin. Or perhaps Thor if you prefer. And we've moved into the U.S. Doppler radar section where I almost forgot to touch my face as I apply face lotion during the Daily Space Weather video. Are you watching while wearing a mask and looking like a complete COVIDiot? Please say no. Am I making your face itch right now just by touching mine? Oh, yeah. Touch your face, folks. It's therapeutic. My new routine, I come home, I shower, I touch my face 4,000 times. It is a delight. Try it out. Tell your friends, tell your foes. You might get banned from Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter for it. There's the U.S. water vapor map, and let's check out the area off the coast of South Carolina. And that was supposed to be an animation. I don't know why. I don't know what I did there. I think I had a senior moment, folks. Shout out to Marcus Begeman and to Becky Quinn. Some of my favorite cyclists. And my list of favorite cyclists has a lot of cyclists. Anyway, there's what's going on. It's a small, small world, and it keeps shrinking, folks. Thanks to our patrons. Did you see our latest post? Drop me a line. Our most important funding is from Patreon. And almost all of it is from Patreon. Thanks for your continued support. We're also on Subscribestar. It's a different tier. It's $3 versus $1 or $9.99. Thanks to Smash Team for doing stuff like sharing the content on your social media. We don't mind toiling in anonymity, and there's a reason why we make the videos. It's because I look at this stuff every day, regardless of whether I make a video out of it, and I figured I'd share. So thanks for flying American Smashways. See if we had any comments, and we didn't. Please keep your head and inside the Smash plane at all times. We've got 3 bonus features. It's the intensity gram of the sun to show 0 sunspots. Here's the colorized magnetogram, freshly updated for your viewing pleasure. And there is a magnetic region rising there. You can barely see it, and that's how early we report. And guess what? It's cycle 25, folks. Are you surprised? I'm not. Cheers. Let's close things out at the 193 angstroms view, one of the ionized UV spectra of ionized iron. So that's it. That's all she wrote. Thanks for tuning in. Know your fabrics. Do you not care what's in your pants? Anyway, cheers. Don't be a COVIDiot. May the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your arteries.